was talking about the coastal plain. And so you can look at the coastal plain here and the Mediterranean off to our left with the rolling sand dunes, and about 15 kilometers off to our right, to the east, is the hills of Samaria. And so we are in this coastal plain right now between the Galilee and what we call the Shephelah off to our right, the hills, the lowlands, the Shephelah off to our right. Going south, we cross the Yarkon River. That's when we crossed the Yarkon River, we got into the Sharon Plain. And then it goes all the way up north to the Tananim River. And we're gonna go, but we're not gonna actually get up that far. And right just past there, the Carmel mountain range cuts in. As a matter of fact, hold on one second. Byzantines. The Byzantines were Romans that, when Constantine in 325 legalized Christianity at the Council of Nicaea, he went from saying Christianity is okay to it's the religion in 325, and his mother Helena came and started finding the sites where Jesus were and building churches and everything like that. The Romans became Byzantines. Nothing else changed. The Romans became Byzantines, and Christianity was legalized, and that's how we delineate between the Romans and the Byzantines. Okay, the Caesarea became the capital of the Byzantine. It's called Secunda, Palestina Secunda, Palestina Prima, and Palestina Secunda. Palestina Prima was Caesarea. Palestina Secunda is Beit Sha'an. We're going to be there in 2 days. Right here in his palace on the lower level, okay, that extended out into the over the sea here, and this square in the middle, okay, they actually found plaster inside this square, okay, and they tested the plaster, and it's marine plaster. And they were able to actually test that this marine plaster inside this square was fresh water. This was King Herod's pool in his palace with fresh water in it. And this was a 2-story palace over here with a freshwater pool. Since this thing was not done in a corner, King Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? I know that you do. Then Agrippa said to Paul, you almost persuade me to become a Christian. And Paul said, I would to God that not only you, but also all who hear me today, that's you and everyone that you bring here, everyone that hears me today, okay? We leave the palace and we're on our way to the amphitheater, okay? You can go have a seat for a second right there. Just get up on, sit down right there. Yeah, so you all of a sudden you need to, you're like, oh man, I really need to use the bathroom, okay? And go ahead, gotta have a seat next to him right here. This is the latrine right here. And these are the bathrooms. And you have the water going underneath here, and you would have a stick with a sponge that you can clean yourself. A hippodrome, hippodrome, was for horse racing. This was originally built as a hippodrome. 250 meters long, 50 meters wide, and it could sit 10 to 15,000 people. This is what everybody. Word in Hebrew called a choresh. A choresh, it's we don't, there's no good translation for the word choresh. It's oftentimes translated as forest. You can see all these are olive trees all along to the left over here in Tel Megiddo. Megiddo, what is the word Megiddo? Gdud in Hebrew, gdud. I don't know how you spell it in English. G-E-D-U-D, gdud. Okay, gdud is the Hebrew word for a battalion. Okay, we're talking about military terms where the armies would gather right here for war. We're going to talk about the future, past wars and the future wars here at Tel Megiddo. Where are we standing right now? And what is a tell? We've talked about this. I've been using this word tell. Tell me what a tell is. Hey, I've never used that one before. So, we're talking about Neolithic and Chalcolithic times, 5,000 years ago. People came here. Why did they come here? If you want to have a civilization, you want to say, hey man, this is a good place to build my home. Why is it a good place to build your home? What are you looking for? What do you want in a place? If you were good, what's that?
Safety.
Safety, great. What else do you want?
Water.
Great. What else do you want?
Fertile
land. Oh, you guys are awesome. What else?
A view.
A view has to do with safety, because if you have safety, you got the view. Okay, so we got water, we got fertile land. Okay, we got safety. Okay, and what else? What are we? Last thing we're looking for?
Highways.
What highways? Thank you. Roads, intersections. If you want to remember these, we use the word wars. W-A-R-S. Water, agriculture, roads, security. Okay? Megiddo has all. Let's talk about the water. Water we're going to get to in a second. We'll talk about that last. Okay? Agriculture. We're in the Jezreel Valley, the fertile plain. Incredible agriculture all around here. Agriculture. Roads, we already talked about it. We talked about it being in the, we're on the Via Maris. Okay, we're on the crossroads right here between going from Europe to Africa and crossing over. Remember, we went through the mountain pass to go from the east to the west. So we are on the crossroads. Whoever holds Megiddo holds the whole land, and everyone wanted Megiddo. It was the most important place in ancient times. Okay, and so someone comes and finds us a little hill here. Everything that you're looking at here is man-made. A tell is man-made. A tell starts, you got a little hill. It's got a little bit, you're looking down, so you got the safety, you got the, okay, we'll talk about the water in a second. And someone builds their civilization. Chalcolithic, Neolithic, all the way back to the time of the Neolithic. We'll talk about that. We're talking about like, more than 3,300 BC. Okay, Neolithic. And then Chalcolithic. Talking Chalcolithic, we're talking about copper. Okay? When copper became used. Okay? They build here. The next civilizations, the Bronze Age comes in. We got the early Bronze, the Middle Bronze, the Late Bronze. Then we got the Iron Age. We got the Canaanites. here. Okay, we got so people come, they knock out another civilization comes, they conquer them, and hey, this has got the water, it's got the agriculture, got the roads, it's got the security. I'll build my home in the same place. One on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, on top of another. 26 to 30 layers on Tel Megiddo.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to see it in a second. Okay, now some of these layers, if you talk about some of the real archaeologists say there's really only like 15 civilizations, because if you build a roof on top of your house, that's another layer. So let's talk about civilizations. We're talking about maybe 15. It's a lot. Okay, it's the most important tell in Israel, Tel Megiddo. Okay, now here's the last thing I want to say. That there was a pattern: 3 layers and then a wood beam, and then 3 layers. Okay. And what was the wood beam for? The archaeologists speculate that because what happens this part of the world? Earthquakes. So when the ground's moving, they put the wood in that made it a little bit more flexible to deal with the earthquakes. The other thing that we can point out, look at the bottom over here. You see these rocks down below here? You see these are different, what kind of rock? These rocks down here? These are basalt, thank you. These are basalt rocks. The foundation of the gates are basalt. Why are they basalt? What do we know about basalt? It's harder than the limestone, okay? So when the chariots came turning in here, the chariot wheels would not break apart the gate. This is original basalt stone from 1500 BC. We're talking about 3,500 years ago. What happened in the gates? What was important about the gates? Protection. What else happened in the gates? Think back in your scriptures. Decision making.
Yeah,
Conversations. What else?
Judgment.
Judgment. Thank you. What else? Selling things in a dime a piece. You know, hey, anyone want a banana? You know, it's like, you know, you had stalls in here. People were selling, they were trading. You know, we know that, you know, from the book of Ruth, things happen in the gates. We can look throughout the scriptures and see all these different things that happen in the gates. We are in a Canaanite gate. If you look up on these are original steps from the Canaanite road, okay, to an Israelite gate. We're going to start by saying it's the Israelite. We know it's the time of the Israelites. We found pottery. We found things that date it to the Israelites. When are the Israelites and who were the Israelites? When did the Israelite kingdom start? Who was the first king of Israel?
Saul.
King Saul. Okay, Israelites. When Joshua came across into the land, we're changing over from the time from the Middle Bronze, from the Late Bronze, from the Canaanites. They conquered the Canaanites, and the Israelites became in the land. We're talking about Late Bronze. We're talking about early Iron Age and Israelites. Okay, King Saul, he starts the first king of Israel. Who was King Saul's successor?
David.
King David. Okay, and then who was King David's son?
Solomon.
King Solomon. Okay, then the kingdom divided afterwards, right? Okay, King Solomon, 1 Kings chapter 9, and Solomon built Jerusalem. I'm not pulling out scriptures right now. Lack of time. I'm sorry, but I will when you're with the groups, and we can spend more time and like that. But 1 Kings chapter 9, verse 15, and Solomon built Jerusalem, the Milo, and Megiddo, Chatzor, and Gezer. Megiddo, Chatzor, Gezer. We know from the scriptures that Solomon built a city in Megiddo, according to the scriptures. And what we have found is when you look at when you measure dimensions between, now how many chambers do we see here?
6.
3 on this side. This is a chamber that was filled in. So 1, 2, 3. This side, where's the line? Where's the line on this side? We had to excavate the Canaanite gate, so they took apart the Israelite gate, excavated the Canaanite gate, and rebuilt the Israelite gate. So this side has been completely rebuilt. This is original, but this is filled for the central chamber. Okay, so we're in an Israelite gate. We know it's the time from the Israelites. We know the scriptures say that Solomon built a gate in Megiddo, also in Gezer, and also in Chatzor. Chatzor is up north. We're going to pass Chatzor tomorrow. Gezer is farther down south. They have come and done the measurements. Yigal Yadin. Now I'm not going to get into this whole thing. There's a whole subject that's very interesting called minimalists and maximalists. Do you believe that the Bible is the Word of God?
Yes.
I'm not asking you because I trust that you do. But the archaeologist, does this archaeologist believe, or is he trying to prove that the Bible is just a bunch of myths? We'll talk about more of this as we go throughout the days. But we know from the scriptures, from 1 Kings chapter 9, that Solomon built a city in Megiddo. Okay. They measured, they took all the measurements, and they overlaid the gate found in Megiddo with the gate found in Chatzor, with the gate found in Gezer, and the gate found in Jerusalem, which most people don't ever talk about or know. I'm going to tell you where it is, and you're going to drive right by it, and no one's going to even talk about it. But because of politics, this is incredible. Because of politics, no one talks about Solomonic Gate in Jerusalem. Headphones are on, so if you turn your headphones on, you can just get wherever's comfortable, stand wherever you want. Mount Arbel, looking at the lowest freshwater lake in the world. Okay, we've seen the lowest and the oldest and the greatest and the biggest and the first of a lot of things in the last 24 hours, huh? Israel's incredible. This is the lowest freshwater lake in the world. It is somewhere about 209 to 215 meters below sea level.
Wow.
Okay? It's about 209 to 215 meters below sea level.
Wow.
Okay? We are standing on Mount Arbel 181 meters above sea level. So that means the Hashmoneans were here. There was the revolt. The Hashmoneans revolted against so the Maccabees were here. The Hashmoneans, then King Herod. Okay, 38 BC. He sends Mark Antony sends King Herod to put down a revolt here. Okay. And the rebels are hiding in the caves, okay? And so he actually built these big wooden cages that maybe you saw when we were walking up here, and he put their soldiers in the cages and lowered them down over the edge and started pulling the people out of the caves and just throwing them off the cliffs to their death. Okay? 2009, the Franciscans, we're going to build a hotel. And everything, so everything that you see from all the way over to that fence and beyond, it's actually can't see because it's darker. Everything all the way over that way, all this is covered up with dirt. There's nothing. We're standing below dirt. This is all dirt. Everything's dirt. Okay? And they start digging for the foundation for this hotel. And lo and behold, they hit a wall. Okay, the first thing they do is hit a wall. And as soon as they hit the wall, okay, everything stops. Okay, and we pull into Israel Antiquities, and they are on knees like, oh no, God forbid, because they know, that they're going to have to pay for the archaeology. Archaeology is extremely expensive. Okay, to do the not only but the renovations in Jerusalem. You'll see what they did with the Pilgrimage Road. So it's even more in a sense. But to do archaeology, it's very, very expensive. So that God forbid that they would find something here. Okay, and so they were. I mean, literally, I've talked to the people. They were just one little. And the archaeologists are looking, hoping that they didn't really find anything serious. And as they unfolded, as they dug out, they found a wall going all the way around here, okay? They found this outside wall. And they found mosaics. We can walk over and see these mosaics for a second. And then they found these benches, okay? That's the first thing, okay? And then they found this thing. This is what we call in situ. In situ means in the location where it was found. In a second, we'll go over and have a closer look at over there. This is a copy, and that's a copy of the original, which is now, last year, moved back to the hotel and is inside here. We can see it, the original afterwards, okay? And so, I'll talk about that in a second, but so first they realized benches all around, okay? What is benches all around? Now remember I talked about different synagogues, okay? How do you know when to date a synagogue? Okay, here's the generalization. If the temple in Jerusalem is standing, then the synagogue doesn't have a direction of prayer. If the temple has been destroyed in 70 AD, all the synagogues that were built after the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, they all face Jerusalem. Okay? That's how we date synagogues. Here, they found benches all the way around. What's the direction of prayer? No direction of prayer. No direction of prayer. All the way around, no direction of prayer. Okay? Right away, we know this is a first century synagogue. There's only 7 in the lands. First century synagogues. There's one on Masada. There's one in Gamla. There's a few, and so the fact that we found a first century synagogue, boy, you guys, that's a really big deal. Now we open up our scriptures, and I'm not going to open them up right now. We know that Jesus taught in all of the synagogues of the Galilee, is what it says in our Bible. Mm-hmm. Okay? Folks, Jesus, 99% chance that Jesus sat right here. I got goosebumps.
Me too.
Jesus sat right here and taught in this synagogue here. Okay? We have mosaics that when you walk around, you can see the color of these are called frescoes. that you take wet paint and you put the color into it while it's wet, and it's as vibrant as it was 2,000 years ago when it was made. You can go walk around in a second like that. We'll take a look at that. What I want to do is come closer over here and take a look at this stone right here and talk about the stone, and then we'll walk around and look at the mosaic. This right here is called the Magdala stone. Okay? It's the only one of its kind. There's PhDs written about it. Okay? And so, what is it? We can speculate. It was found in situ over there, so we know where it was. Okay? What are we looking at? Okay? If you look at, there's indentations in the four corners as if something was on top of it in the four corners. That's number one. Okay? They speculate that there were wooden posts on each of the four corners with a table on top to put the scrolls on top of. And when we walk around on this side of the synagogue where the fresco is, we think that's where they actually kept the scrolls. And they would take the scrolls out and lay them on a table, and Jesus would have stood right over here and read from the scrolls. Okay? Okay, we see this menorah right here. Okay? This is the oldest carved menorah in stone in the world.
Wow.
Okay? And the fact that it is the shape of the tripod is a triangular tripod tells us something really important. Okay? The second thing, it's on a square block, and with the oil and water or something in these jars over here. Okay, where was the menorah?
In the holiest of holies.
In the holy, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the holy, right? Okay. Who could go in there? Only the priests, right? Only the priest, right? Whoever carved this either saw it himself or was told by someone that saw it.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved